Next guest has a $173 price target on the stock. That's above the street median price target of $167. Joining us now to discuss the results, we want to bring in Antoine Chikaiban. He is a New Street Research Technology Infrastructure Analyst. Antoine, it's great to have you back here on Yahoo Finance. So it looks like initially there was some disappointment playing out in the street from the numbers that we saw. And here we are this morning, a bit of a reversal. I'm curious what your biggest takeaway is from this report.
Yes, thanks a lot, Sean and Brad, for having me. So yes, I would just reiterate that Nvidia printed a strong third quarter, with a solid 17% sequential growth for data center. That's above expectations, and the guide for 4Q was strong as well. That implies another 10% sequential growth. And on one hand, you have demand for Hopper that remains very strong, broad-based. You have, H200, Nvidia's latest Hopper GPU that's ramping very well. And on the other hand, you have the Blackwell ramp that's very much on track. Nvidia, is planning to exceed its previous guide of several billions in 4Q. And most importantly, demand is set to exceed supply for several quarters in 2025. And so now I think that the key question is what happens in 2020.
How far out do you think investors are apt to look when evaluating this company? Because you continue to hear on the call that you've got staggering demand for Blackwell, incredible demand, they went on to say. Colette Kress, the CFO and EVP over at Nvidia, also saying Hopper demand is exceptional. So all of this and the superlatives that they layer on to the demand that they're seeing, how far out do you think investors should be keeping in mind with regard to some of these demand projections and then layering that into what seems like a fair valuation for them to get in at?
Yeah, so again, I think now the key debate is what happens in 25, right? And on that front, I think I would say two things. First, there are no signs of overcapacity building for GPUs. On the contrary, you have all the latest models like OpenAI's O1 with a chain of thought putting pressure on compute requirements. That's driving very strong demand at the moment. And we also monitor very closely hyperscale capex, and hyperscalers are indeed on a trend to spend enough for Nvidia to beat next year. And the second thing is really Nvidia's supply chain and all the data center power capacity that is increasing at a very rapid pace. And so you have Nvidia who is carefully allocating clients based on power capacity. So that's really unlikely to create like a bottleneck at an industry level next year. And so here, the conclusion is that there is no bottleneck preventing Nvidia from meeting its expectation, from meeting consensus expectations next year, and even buy-side expectations as well, which we estimate, maybe are in the $200 billion for data center. So bottom line, yes, is Nvidia is very well positioned for 2025. They're set to generate, over $4 of EPS, and even if we expect growth to slow materially beyond, we still see Nvidia approaching, $6 of EPS. And how do we value that? Well, over the last 10 years, Nvidia has traded on 38 times forward earnings. And so if you put like a 35 multiple on these $6 of earnings, well, and you discount that back to today, that still, gives you quite a bit of upside. And that's how our $173 target price is based on.